So these little boxes, they're little flat Masu boxes. They're very simple to make, and they're very customizable. But I wanted to kind of go over how these are really fun. I mean, this is just very nice to be able to have a flat, something flat so you can put small objects in, small gifts, whatever you want to do. Just very simple to fold, but I kind of went a little crazy this morning because my friend Tanya Jenny, she's taught with us before. She sent me something and it came in this adorable box. And then I realized, oh my gosh, she folded this and it had a little necklace in it. And I just thought it was so cool. And I liked the way that she did the little paper band. And that was all done with just a little marker. It looked so neat. So I thought, well, I'm going to make some. And I had so much fun with, and I was going to teach this class anyway, but to make them a little bit more creative, we're going to do a little bit of embellishing on top. So this is just a plain box and there are really no, the measurements are very simple. So let's just start with I'll show you how to fold the box. Let me get this back on. Oops, it only goes on one way, I guess. You'll need a medium weight paper or origami paper, that's fine. Any size square. This was from a 4.5 inch square, this little cute little thing, 4.5 inch squares, two of them. I think this is a 5 inch square and this is a 6 inch square. So your boxes, and this is a 6 inch. So you can make whatever size boxes depending on the size paper you have. So I'm going to use 6 inch paper just so you can see the folding a little bit more, but I want to kind of explain what I did today. Oh, rubies coming in. So what I have is rather than really thin paper, I think you're going to enjoy doing this on a slightly thicker paper. So like scrapbook paper, if you have any, heavier weight, a little bit heavier than origami paper. Now, for those of you who just know about origami paper, it's a lot thinner. In fact, I'm going to grab some sheets of thin paper just so you can get the idea. You can fold these boxes out of the thin paper. That's not a problem, but I like it out of the more of the medium weight. This is a thin sheet. It's very thin, but it feels like a copy paper weight. So you can still fold the boxes out of that. I also have a little paper cutter. You can have a pair of scissors. I'm also in the project today. I've got little scraps of, these are watercolors that I didn't really like. So I never throw them away because I'm always able to use them for making embellishments. So that's kind of, and for covers. So, or, basically decorative elements for your origami or your paper crafts. So I've got that. So here's my paper. I've got an assortment of papers. Mostly, this is a standard, just a piece of white paper that I cut to 6 inches. And then I thought this was fun since Easter is on Sunday. I thought I'm going to do this one because I want you to see what was my mindset today. I got these new pastel paints that are crafty paints, and I just went crazy and I painted really simple with a credit card and then sponged over. And I made this really pretty Easter color, nice pastels. So I made my own custom paper that I want just to have the right color mix. So I'm going to start my fold with this, I think. Or what I could do, I'm going to do one. I want it so that you could see this the best. So maybe, I think you should be able to see this fine. Okay, so let's get started on the folding part. And what you'll need too, if you have any glue or glue stick, it comes in handy. I also have this little tape gun, but any double stick tape, if you have it, this is not necessary to fold the actual project, but at least I want you to, be able to see the kind of what you can do with this. So to start the box, now what we have is we have to make a lid and we're going to make a base. Now, when you're looking at these, there's really no measuring you have to do, but you'll notice they're both out of the same size paper, but one is smaller than the other. And the way that happens is just by the width that you're going to make this certain fold, and I'll show you in a second. But really, it's the same size paper. You don't have to cut a different size or have a different size. So just standard 6 inch square or If you have a large sheet, you can make large boxes, any size box you want to make. So this one is just some paper I bought. It's like a bulk, it's a little heavier than, it's not cardstock, but it's heavier than copy paper. And I kind of like that because it makes a sturdier box. Now I'm going to show you 2 ways to fold this, the same fold, but 2 ways to go about it. But the first way I'm going to show you is just so it makes it a little more straightforward. So you're going to take the paper with the pattern or color side facing the table. We are going to make, actually, Pat, I think we're going to make the bottom first. So if you have a bottom, if you like, this is my bottom, and then this is going to be my top. So we're going to do the bottom first. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. So make it your plain one. If you want to do a plain bottom, go ahead and start with that. So I'm just going to make sure that I got everybody on the same page there. And I'll keep an eye on the chat because sometimes my speaker goes out. So I'll just keep an eye on it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold it in half in both directions. Just to open it up and then fold it in half in the other direction. So you've got 4 equal squares like that. So you can see there's 4, just a valley fold in both directions. And now we're going to valley fold corner to corner, which is from corner to corner in both directions. Open it up, turn it, and fold it in the other direction. So what you'll have is a crisscross in the middle of your other folds. And what you have is this intersection of folds here. You've got, I hope you can see that. It's white, and but we're going to fold the top the same exact way, pretty much. So hopefully you'll be able to see that. And actually what I could do is mark it a little bit with a pencil, just so you can, I'll just kind of make a mark here. There's an intersection of folds right here. And I'm just going to put that pencil, like I'm going to make a little starburst right in where those little folds are. I don't know if you can see that. It looks pretty light to me on my side. So now what we're going to do is take all 4 corners and fold them to the center, right where that intersection meets. Just fold it right to the center on all 4 sides. And we just take it, and when you're doing this, just kind of make sure that these little corners here are nice and sharp, fairly sharp, especially if you don't have, I'm not sure if this is a perfect square since I cut it myself. But if it's origami paper, it's usually guaranteed to be square. But if you cut it yourself, sometimes it may not be. So there we go. And I'm going to fold it again. And this is a pretty thick piece. I'm just noticing it's a fairly thick piece of paper. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to determine the size of my box. And if you notice, so let's say, I'm just going to kind of turn this one down over. The bottom is smaller than the top. So we're doing the bottom. And I can decide where I want that. I can actually make a choice if I wanted to, like if I wanted my bottom to be, let's see, I'm going to give you a measurement here so you can see. That's what's fun about this. It's very customizable. So this is a 2 and 7/8, I think. Let me make sure. Yeah, 2 and 7/8 square. So let's say I want my bottom to be this big, the base to be that big around. I'm going to make a little mark right here just so you can see. You don't have to do this ever, but I'm doing this so I can kind of get an idea of the size of my at the bottom, so you can control what you're going to do. So what I want to do is I want to fold this right at that. I want to fold those right to that place here. So I'm going to fold evenly across. It's really thick. So what I have done, I'm going to make sure that's even. I just want to make sure that this band or whatever, this little hem that I've just made is the same width from end to end. So if I have to adjust that, I will. This is a pretty large, pretty thick piece of paper. Okay, so I pretty much got it evenly, I think. Now this is the only time I needed to measure. The rest is all going to be determined by my by the next folds. So now I'm going to just kind of crease that And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and just open this, what I just made. I'm going to open that up and I'm going to have this little part sticking out. And that is where I'm going to make my next fold. So it really doesn't need to have a mark at all. I just had those before, so ignore those marks. Now this is where I'm going to make my next fold. The bottom edge is going to meet right up at this top. Well, at this place right here, this little intersection. So I'm just going to take this whole thing and I want to take that and I'm going to fold it to meet that right at this little angle right there. I'm just folding that and I'm going to make sure it's even on from end to end. Try to anyway. Otherwise the box top or the box bottom gets a little wonky. So now I'm going to open it up. Just open it up like that so that the little flap sticks out. So we've got these two done now, and I'm going to rotate it. And I'm going to take this bottom edge and bring it up to this, where this angle, little point or angle comes out, right at that intersection, right where my finger is. And I'm just going to fold it right up to that. Making sure, I just want to make sure this is even. So just kind of eye with your eyes, make sure that this width is the same as that. And then give it a good crease. But if you're using regular origami paper, you won't be having to work so hard to get your creases. Now open it up so that that flap comes out, rotate it. Now we have this bottom edge goes, just do the same exact thing. You bring that bottom edge to lay right where that flap kind of intersection right there. And I'm just going to do that. It matches on this side. That's good. And now I'm just going to, now I have all the folding is done. All the creasing is done. Now we're just going to put the box together. So what we're going to do is open it up like this, just one side only. These are going to come up. You're going to just bring those up to make them vertical. These two sides right here like that. You can, this is where I like to glue. I kind of love to glue the whole thing together because it just wants to go everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a glue stick, and to make an easier job of it, I'm going to go right in the center and really kind of generously put it right at the base, all over the whole thing, because it just makes it easier. So I'm going to take that and now I'm going to just bring that up and I'm going to let that just flatten, let that sit on the glue. And I'm going to bring this one up and have that sitting in the glue. It's going to slide around a little bit. There we go. Now you've got the sides, one done. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take, you'll see you already have the creases done for you. You've got this little angle. There's a little angle here, an angle there. What we're going to do is we're going to push that angle in. It's already done for you. You're not making any new creases. You're just creating, you're just kind of collapsing that in. And you're going to create the side. You see how it's just kind of folding? It's already there. And I'll do it again on the other side, but I want you to see it. Now that it's staying, you can see that that is up. And I'm going to fold it over, fold this piece over. And then I'm just creating that next side, the third side. Now it's going to do the same thing on the next one. We're going to take these little angles and push them in with your fingers. And then this will be folded over. Everything's already there. No new creases. You don't even have to reverse the creases. They're already there. Now then you're just going to take it and then fold it over and push it in side, and you've got the box bottom. You've got a nice little box bottom. I can go ahead and sharpen the creases by using a folder, some kind of thing to crease that, give it a nice sharp edge. So now we have the bottom. So here's how we determine the size of the top. So we've got, and this little edge isn't perfect, but anyway, you can see the edges. Like this looks really good. You know, not everything's perfect. This one isn't, but I can't do it now because I glued it. If I didn't glue it, I could have pushed this in a little bit and been a little more exact, but I glued it first. So now I'm going to do the top. I'm going to take this pretty paper that I painted, and I'm going to do the same folds. I'm going to start doing exactly the same way that I did this bottom. The first thing is to fold it in half. And in this one, I'm going to show you, I don't want to crease, well, I guess I'm going to have to. I was going to try to reduce some of the creasing that goes on up here, but I don't think I can do that. See how there's little little ridges on that, but it's all right. I won't worry about it. So I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to open it up, rotate it, fold it in half in the other direction. Open it up, do a corner to corner fold, point to point in one direction, crease it, making sure your points come out really nice and even right here. And again, rotate it and fold point to point here and here. So now what we have is we have the intersection, right? We have all 4 points are going to go into that intersection. We're still doing the same thing that we did for the bottom of the box. We're going to fold all 4 corners to that center point where all those folds meet. Turning the paper, just rotating the paper and then repeating the fold. And repeating one more time. Okay. Now what we're going to do, this is where we do we do it differently. Now, because we want the box to be bigger, we want it to fit over this side, we're going to make a fold that's a little smaller than this first one. So I could mark it. I could take a pencil and kind of mark where that is, but it's going to be about a 1/16 of an inch. It's not even going to be, maybe an 1/8 of an inch. Let's do an 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to make it a little smaller than it's going to be. I'm going to make my fold smaller so that the side will be narrower. So if I look at this, I measure this, it's 3/4 of an inch. And this is going to be, says it says it's like 3/8. Okay. So that's kind of how you just want it to be a little smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and I make that fold. And I want to make sure as I check my bottom, because this is really the best way, because the first few boxes I made, they were slightly wonked up. They just didn't work. I just want to make sure that it's not bigger than the side here. I want it to be a little smaller. There it is. So that once I've determined that width, I don't have to measure anymore. I'm done with that. I just wanted to kind of double check. So I'm just folding it across so that it's the same size, going same size here. And I'm going to, it's a lot thicker because I have some acrylic paint on this. Now I'm going to take it and open it up so that the flap's just pointing out. I'm going to turn it. And now I'm going to make my next fold based on where this is. So where this right here is where I start to fold, and I end it here. So my crease is here and my end of my paper is going to be right there. I'm going to go ahead and just take it and use that right there and just fold it so that it meets right at that place there. Just kind of keep your eye on the width on both sides, making sure that it's the same or as close as possible. I think mine's off a little, so I'm going to just shift it a little like that. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to give this a really good crease because it needs it. I'm going to open that up, rotate the paper, and I'm going to do the same thing on this edge. I'm going to bring it right there and just kind of eyeball it so that it's the same on both ends. God, I love this paper that it just hand painted it a little while ago. So it's a little kind of damp, actually. It's a little sticky. Okay, this is opening up. And I'm going to turn my paper, do one more. And now I have 2 to refer to. So I've got these 2 little, this edge here, I can just go to this place and then I can match that and then make my crease. So that one was easier to do because I had the 2 edges. Now I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to double check it. I'm pretty sure it's fine, but you can always double check if you want your base. So there we've got these. We open up 2 ends. We bring these up so that you have vertical sides. And this one I'm not going to glue, just to show you some adjustments if you need to. So now I'm going to take the same thing. I've got my sides here. Now I'm just going to push these sides in on the existing diagonal folds that are there. You can see they're right there. And you just want your edges to, kind of line up nicely. So if you see, you could kind of crease that so that those edges are nice and flush to each other. And just do the same on this side. And then make that, kind of reinforce that crease like this, and then just fold it inside. And we'll do the same thing on this one. Push those sides in, and then just reinforce those creases. And then, once you've done that, then you can do the gluing. I think I probably was jumping a little too, kind of rushing on the glue part. I think it's, sometimes these just hold together nicely without glue. They just kind of stick together. But if you really want to add a little more reinforcement, you can just take a little glue, and even on the ends, maybe just on 2 ends, that'll be enough. That should hold it, I'm thinking, and just kind of push it down. So let's see if it fits. There, and I've got it pushed down. I've got the top done and the bottom, and it fits very nicely, and it's just the perfect, it fits nicely, really nicely over the bottom. And then now we have a little flat gift box. You can put little scrap papers. It would be fun to see if I could fit a note cube. I think this may be a little small. Okay, so I could do a bigger, to hold note, these little sticky notes. Oh, that would fit just a little bit bigger. So I'd have to have a bigger sheet of paper, or just make the edges more narrow, but you can make a little Post-it note holder out of these. Or you can make it a gift, a gift box. You can do all kinds of things. Hold little trinkets. That's done there. This one I did make big enough to hold some watercolor papers that I'm using. So there's lots of uses for these. So you can see all these little boxes are so customizable. This one, I put a little belt on it, like a little band, just cut it out and glued it. And I used an old watercolor, cut it out just a little smaller than the box, wrote some words on the back. I think this one, I did put a liner, so it just kind of covers up some of those creases. But this was made out of a 6-inch square here, and you can reuse these. I love this. And then this one was also 6 inches. This is a 5-inch square, and you can see a little piece of watercolor paper with a little punched out leaves. This one is the 4-inch square. I just think these are so cute, and they are very, very versatile. And you can stack them, just keep stacking the different sizes together. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you can make some of these because they're kind of addictive.